यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी वनचारी जय जो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा चारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Gaura Hari Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Sachi Mata Prana Dhan Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Sachi Mata Prana Dhan Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Nadiya Bihari Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Nadiya Bihari Gaura Hari Jai Prabhupada Jayo Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jayo Srila Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jayo Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jayo Srila Prabhupada Jai Gurudev Jayo Gurudev Jai Gurudev Jayo Srila Gurudev Jayo Gurudev Gurudev Jayo Srila Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्री निताय गौरांग भगवान की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय All glories to Assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to Assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to Assembled devotees Hare Krishna Hare Krishna so Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Vasudeva Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 10, Chapter 65, Text 17, chapter entitled Lord Balaram Visits Vrindavan. So recite the verse 17. Do maso tatra chavatsin madhu madhavamev cha Rama Chapasu Bhagavan Gopi Namratin Avahan Do Maso Tatra Chavatsin Madhu Madhavamev cha Rama Sapasu Bhagavan Gopi Namratin Avahan Do Maso Tatra Chavatsin Madhu Madhavamev cha Rama Sapasu Bhagavan गोपीनां रतिनावहन्. Devotees can recite. Damaso tatra cha vatsin madho madhava eva cha rama chapasu bhagwan gopinam ratimavahan. Damaso tatra savatsin madho madhavam eva cha rama sapasu bhagwan gopinam ratimavahan. Damaso tatra savasin madho madhavameva cha rama sapasu bhagwan gopinam ratimavahan. So word meaning, translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada disciples ki jai. Word to word meaning, though, two, masau, months, tatra, there, in Gokul, cha, and avatsit, resided, madhum, madhu, the first month of the Vedic calendar at the time of the spring equinox, madhavam, madhava, the second month, eva, indeed, cha, also, rama, balaram, chapasu, during the nights, Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord, Gopinam, to the gopis, Ratim, conjugal pleasure, Avahan, bringing. Translation: Lord Balram, the personality of Godhead, resided there for the 2 months of Madhu and Madhava, and during the nights he gave his cohort girlfriends conjugal pleasure. Purport: Srila Sridhar Swami states that the gopi who enjoyed conjugal affairs with Sri Balaram during his visit to Gokul had not taken part in Sri Krishna's rasa dance, being too young at the time. Srila Jiva Goswami confirms this statement by quoting a phrase from the Bhagvatam 10:15-8. Gopyo antarena bhujayo, which indicates that there are particular gopis who act as Lord Balaram's girlfriends. Furthermore, Jiva Goswami states that during the holy festivities celebrated when Krishna killed Sankhachuda, the gopis Lord Balaram enjoyed with were different from the ones Lord Krishna enjoyed with. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti agrees with this explanation. Let us recite the prayers together. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaisnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamascha नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरविषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमार्थमने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यं जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुव एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So I seek blessings at the lotus feet of all the devotees so that I can say something for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord and for Srila Prabhupada and for all the Vaishnava Acharyas and for my personal purification. So please bless me. And this verse today, what verse today we are discussing, so to be very honest, it is very impossible for person, at least person like me, to understand with all material consciousness, impurities which are present in the heart. But these are the topmost pastime which is mentioned in Bhagvatam, and for people like us, it won't be able to properly understand it or appreciate it. So here we are seeing that this pastime is being performed by Lord Balram. And who is Lord Balram? So it is said that there is almost no difference between Krishna and Lord Balram. So there was once a disagreement between two devotees. One was Yamuna Mataji, another was Madhu Dvisa Prabhu. So Madhu Dvisa Prabhu said that the only difference between Krishna and Balram is that Balram is whitish in complexion and Krishna is blackish in complexion. But Yamuna Mataji disagreed. Yamuna Mataji said that the only difference between Krishna and Balram is that Krishna can only enjoy with Srimati Radharani and Balram cannot enjoy, that we know. But Madhu Dvisa Prabhu was saying that that is whitish and blackish complexion is the most important difference. So anyway, so Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, so he heard, so the matter went to Prabhupada. And then Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj said that there are one important major difference between two important devotees are going on to understand the difference between Krishna and Balram. So Prabhupada asked that what is the disagreement or what are the points. So then Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj said that Madhu Dvisa Prabhu said that the only difference between Krishna and Balram is that Krishna is blackish and Balram is whitish. So Prabhupada said yes, he is perfectly correct. Then Maharaj said that, but Yamuna Mataji is saying that the only difference is that, and the most important difference, that Krishna can only enjoy with Radharani. Then Prabhupada said that yes, he is perfectly right. Then Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj said that who is right? Prabhupada said that you decide who is right, because I won't be able to say. That is like transcendental pastime, so we will not be able to figure out who is right, or because both are like right, like we see that. Because Krishna, we know he is blackish in complexion. So once in one lecture, I heard one devotee was narrating. We know that in this African subcontinent also, because of Bhakti Tirth Maharaj and all the great Vaishnavas, so Krishna consciousness is currently spread in a very big way. So in African country, once in some area, the temple was there. And we know that some places are there where some kind of criminal activities happen. Some people are there who are like dubious mindset. And they want to just extract money, rob the temple, or they have that kind of mentality. So once like few person, so they barged into the temple in the morning time, and the devotees were there, so they wanted, and they sought, and these people who came into the temple, so who were like criminal mentality. So devotees, they people become used to it, right? You see that all like notorious people are there. So generally people get used to this kind of incidents. So they were not very much disturbed. It was almost like daily affair. They might be seeing outside temple and all. So those people who had entered, so they sought towards this donation box, and they said that I want money. Whatever the money is there, I want from the donation box. So the devotee said that you have to wait for some time, because the key for that donation box is one pujari. So the people asked, then what is he doing? So no, he's he's behind the curtain. So curtain was there. He might be doing some offering and all, the devotee. So he's behind the curtain. So once he come out, so then you can take key from him. So the person waited. Okay, fine, I will wait for some time. So then that curtain got opened, and then the beautiful deity was Radha Krishna was there. And that pujari was also not very much concerned. He was like showing like incense and all, because he said this kind of people are like that only. So when that curtain got opened, so the people who had come in African continent, so he was very curiously looking. So after pujari, his worship got over. So the person who had come to rob the temple or extract money, get something. So he asked that, who is this person you are worshipping? I see this black person. Who is that person? But the pujari said that he is our God. His name is Krishna. So we are worshipping him. So the pujari said, the criminal minded person said, okay, that is fine. But who is that lady who is beside that boy, that person? So this pujari thought that if I say that that she is an eternal consort, then what he is going to understand? Eternal consort also he will not understand. If he is going to say that she is the wife of Krishna, then those kind of people were there. They do not have concept of wife also. So they will not understand that thing also. So he tried to preach him in his language. So he said that she is the girlfriend of Krishna. So as soon as these people heard, so they had a big smile on the face, because these people were of blackish complexion, because the racism is there in South Africa, this complexity is there. So they said that the first time I am seeing that a black boy having a white girlfriend. And because of that, you are worshipping a black person, having a white girlfriend, so your God is very wonderful. And you should make sure that this girlfriend does not run away from here. The pujari said that do not have to worry, because she is a very committed girlfriend and both are committed to each other, so do not have to worry. So, okay, fine, you take care nicely. I will also give you some money. Take care of your black God very nicely. So understand that your God is also with us, because this is what we are fighting for. So this is what Krishna he does wonderful pastime, wonderful leela. And this is why I see that because of this wonderful pastime or wonderful form of Krishna, attractive feature of Krishna, that today Krishna consciousness has spread all over the world. People get so much attracted just by seeing the deity of Krishna. So here when we are reading today's verse, so we see that the acharyas are explaining about the different gopis who are there. Like in Krishna Leela, so we see that different gopis are there who perform pastime with Krishna. And here gopis who are there, so they are not the same gopis, they are the different gopis. That has been confirmed by the acharyas, and they are also giving evidences from the scriptures. So like we see that there are different devotees and different mood, like in Lord Ram's pastime also there are like devotees, like Hanumanji is there, or in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime also we see that where Murari Gupta comes, or Anupam is there, so they are devotee of Lord Ram, because they are much more inclined or absorbed in worshipping Lord Ram. So similarly there are devotees who want to worship Lord Balram, so they are like great sages, great personalities who had desire that they wanted to perform pastime with Lord Balram, or they basically pastime in the sense they wanted to serve Lord Balram. So in that way Lord Balram is reciprocating with the love of the cohort girls who are there. In that way he is reciprocating. So these kind of wonderful pastimes are there. But these pastimes, if we have to understand, then we have to understand what acharyas are explaining. Because if we do not go through the purport of the acharyas, through the explanation of the acharyas, then these pastimes we may very much misunderstand it. Because this Ras Leela pastime is one of the most misunderstood pastime in the entire world. Most misunderstood. And we all know that not just misunderstood, people take it cheaply. People think that when Krishna or Balram is performing the pastimes, It is just like a past, something which are normal, like mundane in the material world, which a boy and girl is doing. That kind of mindset people are having. And there are incidents also that, not incidents, it's a known fact also that people exploit also. In the garb of this Ras Leela or like narrating this pastime, there are many people who misguide people, cheat people, and they also indulge in all kind of abominable activities. And in that way, they bring bad name also to Krishna consciousness, or bad name not just Krishna, to the devotees of Krishna, or what the pastime which Krishna is doing. But when we go through the scriptures, for example, when we are reading in Bhagavatam, so we see that these pastimes, where it is coming in 10th canto, almost towards the end of Bhagavatam. From 1st to 9th canto, Sukadeva Goswami is establishing the fact that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and how as a jiva we are completely different from Krishna. It's not that although qualitatively we are one, but we are subservient to Krishna. And what is the purpose of our life, and how we should be worshipping Krishna, what should be our motive behind worshipping Krishna. So all this is very clearly established. And then in 10th canto also, when this pastime is also discussed about the Ras Leela pastime, so it is not the only pastime. When we read in Bhagavatam, then when Krishna performs the pastime, so one thing is that when Krishna performs pastime, he is just a small boy, right? He is 7-8 years old, because by the age of 11 years, he had left Vrindavan. So when Krishna is doing pastimes, he is a small boy, and it is also like just 3-4 chapters, like chapter 29 to 34, that Krishna's pastime is described. And here also in Bhagavatam, when we are reading Balramji's pastime, that is also the 65th chapter, and the 17th text is there. Shishya Nitaya Gauranga Bhagwan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So here also we see that towards the end only this pastime is described. So there are many pastimes are there, and all these pastimes are as important as the Ras Leela pastime, as the Krishna's pastime with the gopis, or Balramji's pastime we are hearing. So it is with the gopis. So these things we have to understand. And as I think in previous class, His Grace Acharan Prabhu was explaining, that sometimes, like unfortunately, devotees also get misled, that some of the people, some of the dubious preachers, we can say, that they just give some kind of, you can say, a wrong kind of information or input, mislead the people, saying that we will like take you to that esoteric pastime where you can understand this pastime, or you can also do this pastime like the gopis did with Krishna, or this pastime and all. But if we study the scriptures, so we do not find that anywhere it is mentioned. Neither any acharyas have ever recommended this thing. We do not see in the life of Prabhupada also, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime also. What we see, that we read, so most of the time, what pastime he used to like the most? Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. And he used to hear it again and again, not one time, not 2 times, not 3 times, 4 times, but again and again he used to hear. And he used to release a lot. And he came in the mood of He is the Supreme Lord, and came in the mood of Radharani. It is not that he's always discussing Ras Leela pastime. That is, he's not doing that thing. And the other thing is that if you see that Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita has been spoken by Krishna himself, who performed Ras Leela. But I have read Bhagavad Gita a few times, heard many lectures also, but I have never read anywhere that Krishna speaks about Ras Leela in Bhagavad Gita. Like Krishna is there, he is the Supreme Lord. Arjun is there, he is the pure devotee, but Krishna is not speaking about Ras Leela pastime to Arjun there. And when in 9th chapter also, so 9th chapter, the most important chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is said. So there Krishna says that I will give you this king of all knowledge, Raj Vidya. Raj means king, and Vidya means knowledge. The king of all knowledge, I am going to explain it to you. And Raj Guhyam, which is also the most confidential knowledge. So what is the king of knowledge, and what is the most confidential knowledge which Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, and through Arjuna he is also speaking to people like us who have to purify our life, perfect our life. So what qualities which Krishna is talking, the devotee should be having. So what Krishna says is that the pure devotees of the Lord, what he does, Satatam Kirtiyanto Mam. So what the devotees are doing, he is continuously Satatam, that is continuously Kirtiyanto Mam, that he is chanting the name of Krishna, discussing about the pastimes of Krishna, he is absorbed in Krishna. So that is what the pure devotees of Krishna is continuously doing. And how those pure devotees are doing, that also Krishna explains that Yatantascha Dridhavrata. That is, with complete determination, they are engaged in this devotional service. It is not that Krishna is saying that the devotees who are pure, who are always relishing their life, who is always in bliss, they are like enjoying the rasa dance or ras lila which Krishna had, which I had with the gopis. That Krishna is not talking about. And the other thing is that towards the end of that chapter, what Krishna is saying that how we can also perfect our life, that Krishna says that man mana mad bhakto matyaji mam namaskuru, that always think about me, always think about me, become my devotee, worship me, pay obeisances to me. So that is what Krishna is expecting from each one of us. That is what we should be doing. And when we are doing that thing, then what Krishna is saying, Mam ivasya yuktevam. That is, yuktevam means that if one is completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, Krishna's name, Krishna's forms, Krishna's qualities, then Krishna is promising that Mam ivasya, that person is going to come back to me. That is what Krishna is promising this in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, and through Arjuna to all of us. So this is what Krishna is saying. So as the acharyas explain, as the devotees explain, so this actually should be our mood. This is how we should be practicing our devotional life. This is how we should be also doing our Krishna consciousness. Like Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, so he says that in one of his lecture that whatever is required for us to go back to the spiritual world, that has already been given by Srila Prabhupada. And it is not that anything we have to invent new. So whatever the process he has taught us, whatever we have to do to perfect our life, to purify our lives, that has been given to us by Prabhupada. So, and that is why we see that all these Prabhupada disciples, all these great devotees and all, so whatever the thing which they were doing at the start of their Krishna consciousness, the same thing they are doing right now also. It's not that they are inventing something new. They are not doing those things. That is, we do not see that. I remember in once this Kartik month, one devotee had asked from His Holiness Radharanath Swami Maharaj that in Kartik month, what extra should we do? In Krishna consciousness, what extra should we be doing? So Maharaj said that you should chant your 16 rounds as attentively as possible, follow the 4 regulative principles, and follow the instructions which the authorities have given to you, and do the service. This is what you have to do. It is not that we have to do something extraordinary, that in Kartik month and all. This is what acharyas have explained. Because we may try to imitate someone, but if we try to do so, what is going to happen? We are going to, obviously, the fall down is going to happen. This is what has happened. If we have seen also some examples, and if you are not very cautious also. And but unfortunately, this we understand, and we see that Krishna is not saying that we have to imitate any of the pastime. Never Krishna has said. But unfortunately, we see this in this world, that people try to do. And there are so many so-called preachers. And these preachers are also because sometimes people have material qualities also. They might be very wonderful speaker. They may speak very nicely. They may sing very nicely. And they may in a very relishing way, they may narrate the esoteric pastime of Krishna. Especially esoteric means the Ras Leela they will narrate. And in that way, they misguide the people. People who are in ignorance, they misguide them. And sometimes people also want to get misguided. That is why they go to those people. It is both way around. Because whatever is there in our heart, that only gets manifested also. So I heard that there was one so-called great orator or narrator or preacher. So he used to narrate very wonderful Ras Leela pastime of Krishna. And because these people, when they have young girls also who will do all kind of drama and all. They will sing also, because that is how they can attract the audience. And then used to have fruits and some flowers used to have. Then while very nicely narrating the pastime, he used to throw the fruits towards the audience. And after the fruit used to be thrown, then something unique used to happen. And that only his confidential associate used to know. Means he also had disciples, whoever the disciples may be, so-called disciples. So what his strategy used to be, that he used to narrate those Ras Leela pastime, and then he used to throw the fruits. And along with that, he used to throw the fruits towards some young girls. And then his so-called disciples used to be there, so they used to identify those young girls. And after that, when the morning time or the evening time, when his katha used to end, then the night time, those girls used to be invited. And that person used to do this Ras Leela with those that girl, because that is how they he wanted to teach them that, and he used to tell them, this is how I am teaching you, that this is how you have to go and do in Vrindavan. This is what I am giving you training right now. This is how these people are cheating. All the people are cheating, and since they are cheating, and since people also want to get cheated, so that is how these things are happening. And these things happen, and there are like many so-called religious sects are also there. One sect you all might be knowing also. The so-called Osho sect is there. So they have this philosophy based on that only. So their philosophy is also that. They also so-called talk about this thing, Krishna consciousness, not consciousness they will never talk about. They will like pick up the pastime. So why I'm discussing this, we see that how people are like misusing this like extraordinary pastime of Krishna is there, and how people are misusing it, and they are like destroying their life also and destroying the life of people also, and giving bad name to this like devotional life also. So their condition is that who can go to their ashram? One is that you have to have lots of money, you have to pay money, that is one thing. And second thing is that when you go to that ashram, so you have to carry one certificate. And what is that certificate? You have to be certificate from the doctor that you are not HIV positive. So you have to have that certificate, then only you can enter that ashram. So you can understand that what kind of nonsense is going on in that ashram, what kind of like sinful activities are going on. So people do, and people also imitate this pastime, this wonderful pastime of Krishna in mundane way. That we see that people do this dandiya, like dandiya dance they do. They try to imitate like a Lord Krishna and Radharani. So all these boys and girls, not young boys and girls also. These days old people also dance, like old. And right now I heard that people who cross 60 and all, because their one phase of life is over, so they give their life a second name, and they call themselves as, we are now into our second innings. So we are trying to enjoy our second innings. But they do not know that there is their last inning of their life. So they should be very much cautious. But that is what no brahmachari, then brahmachari, grihastha is there, vanprastha, their final stage of life is there. But in spite of that, what they do, they also play some movie song, and they also like to imitate the pastimes and all. So that is they try to do, and they do dandiya dance and all. So boys and girls will be doing, they will trying to imitate. So one girl will be dancing with one boy, then the same girl will be dancing with other boy. Then the one boy will become upset that why my girl is dancing with other boy. Then there is quarrel between two boys, they will fight also. When the girl will see that there is a fight between two boys, then she goes to the third person, she starts dancing with third person. So all this nonsense keeps on happening. And it's a vice versa also, not like men also, women also, it's a both way around. So that is what we see, that if you are not very cautious, and we should be very much grateful to Prabhupada, that Prabhupada has given us a process, and so that we can understand and we can clearly identify what is the right thing, what is the wrong thing. It is like for us, if we regularly read Prabhupada's book, then things are very crystal clear. We can understand. Although like I can talk about myself, we have so much anarthas, we may not be able to completely appreciate everything or completely follow everything, but at least theoretically we are very much clear that what is right and what is not right. And we see also like in so many examples are there in the scriptures, like we have the example of Chota Haridas. So he committed one mistake. It was a mistake only. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like forgive him. Forgive means externally I'm talking about. Internally he was already forgiven. That is something else, because he was like begging forgiveness. All devotees on his behalf was asking forgiveness from Mahaprabhu that he should forgive Chota Haridas. But just to set an example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to show to the entire world that what should be the life of a devotee, what should be the life of a renunciate. Because even like it's not about just doing in a gross way, even in mind also, if some thought process comes, and if you are doing it in a subtle way also, then that also is an abominable. Although it is said that in Kali Yuga, something which we have in our mind, for that we do not get the sinful reaction for that. But if something is there in the mind, eventually it is going to manifest. If something is seed form also is there in the mind, it is just a matter of time. If you are not trying to burn that seed, it is going to eventually manifest in our life. That is why we have to be very cautious. Because this attraction for the opposite sex, both way around, whether it is men for women, women for men, it is extremely strong and it is irresistible unless and until we are cautious. Sometimes like during the rainy season, so we see that some insects are there. So there is a fire. I don't know if you all have seen or not. So during our school time, we used to study in this kerosene lamp is there. We used to study there. So sometimes during this rainy season, there small insects are there. So they will get attracted towards that fire. and they will jump into that fire even though the insect will completely burn. They will see that the insect is completely burning. So lust is compared to that fire. Because the fire, if we look from the distance, then the fire is very attractive. Because the color is also, it's a golden color, right? It's a golden color fire is there. And it's like emitting all kind of flames and all, the sparkle is there, everything is there. So it is very attractive. But as we go closer, if we touch it, then immediately we will be get completely annihilated, devoured. So that is why immediately, like when the thought also is there, it should be curbed. So like one Grihastha devotee, so he was asking one question. So I somehow I heard because he was asking in front of me. Very sincere devotee. So anyway, he was asking. So he said that sometimes devotees are honest. It is nice to be honest. So he was asking to some senior devotee, and he was saying that when in temple, when I when kirtan is there, when I am doing, when I am dancing in the kirtan, so many times when I see Mataji, so I try to dance more. And I observe that my desire is that to please the opposite sex. And sometimes I go near also and try to show all our moves and all, because that we are not able to in the material world. So maybe we try to do here. I'm not saying we, I can talk about myself. Generally, we have that mindset because we try to impress, because that is the conditioning because of which we are here in this world. That is why we left the spiritual world and we are here, because we have this enjoying mentality is there. So we try to do all this kind of things. So he was very sincerely asking that how we have to free ourselves from this kind of mentality when we are trying to impress. So all this has to be, and we have to be very much cautious in our spiritual life also, because it is said that Krishna is attractive, no doubt about it, but Maya is also equally attractive. Maya is not ugly, because if Maya would have been ugly, Maya would have been externally, if Maya would have been not so much attractive, then would have given Maya. But she is extremely attractive. And because of the attraction, we get attracted to Maya. And so we should be extremely cautious. And if we are not cautious, and if little bit also, sometimes when we are driving our vehicle, so what happens that if just one moment a person loses the attention, what happens? Just for 2-3 seconds, you meet with a fatal accident. Similarly, in our life also, if we lose 2-3 seconds also, if we lose our attention, if we are not attentive, and if we are not cautious, then immediately what is going to happen? We will be inviting a great disaster in our life. Because sometimes initially what it is there, it is just a seed form. Because it is not there, just a seed. Then seed is there, dormant is there, we may not be able to see also, not be able to feel also. Then after sometimes what happens, 2-3 drops are put there. Then the seed does not die, seed starts surviving. Then again 2-3 drops, 4 drops, 5 drops. And slowly the seed becomes a little plant. And the plant becomes very attractive. Like we start releasing, that small plantation is there in our heart. So we start releasing also. And then slowly that plant, eventually what happens, it becomes as big and as huge as a banyan tree in our heart. And it becomes deep rooted. And when it becomes deep rooted, then it becomes impossible to uproot it. Very difficult. It's not impossible in the sense that if we are taking shelter of Krishna and devotees, it becomes easy, but we have to struggle a lot. Extreme struggle is required in that sense, if you are not very much cautious. We see that even great personalities, we are just practicing for few years. Great, Vishwamitra Muni, he was not an ordinary person. So that personality, he got attracted and he got bewildered. So we are just nothing, just a small, a pebble in front of him, Vishwamitra Muni. So we have to be very much cautious when we are doing, when we are interacting, when we are talking. So we have to be very much cautious. Else what is going to happen is that we are, unfortunately, the wonderful Krishna consciousness which Prabhupada has given us, and this human form of life, we can completely perfect, purify our consciousness, purify all our lusty desires, and we can return back to the spiritual world. If we are not doing, then we will keep on transmigrating in this species only. And if we are transmigrating, then we know that what is going to happen. We have to suffer again and again. So Prabhupada gives the example. Prabhupada says that in Vrindavan, we see that there are so many hawks and monkeys. So Prabhupada says that why in Vrindavan there are so many hawks and monkeys? Because there are many people who go to Vrindavan and they come and do nonsense there. Nonsense means all this kind of abominable, sinful activities, illicit sex, relationship and all they do. So what happens? The next life they get the body of a hog, they get a body of a monkey. And how long they will remain a hog or a monkey, we do not know. Because I was just thinking about this previous chapter on King Nriga's pastime. So one devotee was explaining that pastime even Lord Ram says about Nriga. So Lord Ram means it happens in Treta Yuga. And then this Nriga, this episode, it happens just towards the end of Kali Yuga. So it means towards the end of Dwapar Yuga. So Dwapar Yuga is how many years? 8,64,000. And Treta Yuga is also like 12,96,000. So means Nriga was in that form for how many years? If we calculate, we understand for lakhs of years he was in that form. So if someone is getting abominable body of a hog or a dog or whatever, so we do not know for how many years we can be in that body. So that is why we have to be very much cautious if we are living, if we are like in our this Krishna consciousness journey which we have taken up, and the gift which we have got from Prabhupada, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we have to be very much clear that we cannot be Krishna and we can never imitate Krishna. And we can never imitate the pastime of Krishna. And Krishna has never told us, the pure devotees of Krishna, the acharyas, the scriptures have never asked us that we should ever imitate any pastime of Krishna. So there is one incident in the life of Shankaracharya. And generally we have a tendency to imitate people like big people, God and all. So we have this tendency. So once Shankaracharya was going with his disciples, so he was going on the road. So his disciples were following him and they were thinking that whatever Shankaracharya is going to do, we are going to follow him as it is. So Shankaracharya stopped at a place and there was a place where some people were selling fruit juice. So he asked fruit juice from them and he drank fruit juice. So all the disciples became very much happy, saying that our Shankaracharya has drunk the fruit juice, so let us also drink the fruit juice. So they also took the fruit juice and they also drank. So, and after that, Shankaracharya then went ahead. After some time again, he stopped at a place and there someone was selling milk. Then Shankaracharya took milk and when Shankaracharya drank milk, his disciples also became very happy. They thought that no, Shankaracharya has also drank milk. So it means that we should also drink milk because he has given his approval that we should also drink milk. Then little ahead, Shankaracharya drink what it is called? Buttermilk, that is chach he drank. So the disciples also followed. Little ahead Shankaracharya went and there was a blacksmith. And that blacksmith was having a molten iron in a vessel, in a jar. So Shankaracharya took that molten iron and he drank it. Then he looked towards his disciples and everyone ran away from there. So it's not that we can just keep on imitating like whatever the great personalities have done. We have to, actually what we have to do, we have to follow his instruction, their instructions we have to follow. Whatever instructions they are giving, we should follow. And if we are doing that, then what happens? We are going to get the mercy of Krishna. So that's what we are supposed to do. Because all these pastimes also, whatever we are seeing, so this pastimes is actually because all the devotees want to serve Krishna, they all want to please Krishna. No one is in the mood of enjoying. No one has an enjoying mentality. It's not like gopis want to enjoy with Krishna or anyone wants to enjoy with Krishna. Like in last class, Prem Sarup Prabhu was explaining that Krishna reciprocates with everyone, even with animals. That is how Krishna is there. So he is reciprocating with each and every living entity's services, whatever they are doing. So this pastime we know that about like how Krishna reciprocates with each and every living entity, like whoever is there in Vrindavan is there. So we see that once like when Krishna was playing the flute, so all the peacocks, they became very happy. They were very much happy to hear Krishna's flute. And in that happiness, what happened? The peacock, they all started dancing for the pleasure of Krishna. And they danced for hours and hours, for days and days they danced. And after that pastime got over, then the peacock, they were so much happy, so much blissful, they were so much thankful to Krishna that they wanted to offer something to Krishna. And when they wanted to offer something to Krishna, so what a peacock can have? They cannot have anything. So they just looked towards their body and they saw there some colorful like feather, whatever is there on their body, and some feather had also fallen down on the ground. So out of love, what they did, they took the feather and they offered to Krishna because that is the most precious thing they were having. And Krishna being the Supreme Lord, so he wants to reciprocate with each and every living entities. So, and then how Krishna reciprocates? Krishna reciprocates in the best possible way. The best way Krishna reciprocates. So what does Krishna does? So he could have taken the peacock feather and would have put up all like put him somewhere else. He could have put him. He would put that peacock feather in his garment also somewhere. But Krishna took the peacock feather and he put it on his turban. And that is why Krishna wears peacock feather. That is the means the love he shows to the peacock, the reciprocation he showed to peacock, Krishna. And we see that in pastime of Lord Ram also, when all these monkeys, so when they built the bridge for Lord Ram, so Lord Ram was not knowing that what kind of like gift I can give to the monkeys. So he did not know that, because he could have given them all the wealth, all the money, whatever he could have made them, Brahma or Indra, anything could have made them. But he was thinking that what kind of love, what I can offer to them. So that is why Krishna said that I will be with you and I will like reciprocate with your love in my Krishna Lila when I come as Lord Krishna. And this is what we see, that some of the monkeys are there who were like served Lord Ram when he was constructing this Ram Setu bridge. And in that, and how Krishna is reciprocating and how Krishna is showing his love to the monkeys, that personally he is feeding the monkeys. Personally with his own hand he is feeding all the monkeys. That is how he is reciprocating with the love of the monkeys. But have we seen in this world, like sometimes like some wealthy person, he builds a big palatial house. So there are many workers are involved. So anywhere have we seen that the person, the wealthy person, he becomes very happy and he calls the workers when the building has been, his building construction is over, and he starts feeding with his hand to the workers. It never happens in this world. It's just he may pay something money and all, that at the most that may happen. Like we hear that when Shah Jahan built this Taj Mahal, so-called monument, there are many monuments more beautiful than Taj Mahal. People say that Taj Mahal is beautiful, that is something else. So some say that after these workers, they built the Taj Mahal. So what Shah Jahan did, they chopped the hand of the workers. That is the gift that he gave them. Because he did not want that such a beautiful monument should be built by these people again. And that they should not utilize their talent somewhere else. But anyway, it's like Kali Yuga. So what is the truth? So some people say that this is a myth, this is not a true story. But we do not know, but some people say that this is what Shah Jahan did. So this is what he did to the people who had constructed this Taj Mahal and all. So but Krishna, what he does? He completely, and that only Krishna can do. Krishna can completely reciprocate with the devotees' love. And in that, all the devotees, they experience complete satisfaction. And if we also want to experience that happiness, if we also want to experience that satisfaction in our life, then also we have to follow. And what we have to do? We have to engage ourselves in the devotional service of Krishna. Because that is what Prabhupada explains. Prabhupada very nicely, because last week when we were hearing, Prabhupada was explaining the meaning of the word dharma. So he was explaining that dharma is something which is the intrinsic characteristic of something. So it is explained that the swadharma of the soul, what is the swadharma? The intrinsic nature of the soul. And Prabhupada is explaining that the meaning of the swadharma is that which can never be changed. That is the swadharma. And what is the swadharma of the soul? That is the service. Whatever the service we are doing, that actually is our swadharma. So if you are not serving the Lord, if you are not serving Krishna, then what actually we do? We serve our mind, we serve our senses most of the time. And if we are doing that, we are just inviting only one thing, that we are inviting our misery. So that is why our main goal, main purpose should be to serve. And that is why Prabhupada, when he translates the word bhakti, so he does not use the word just devotion. Bhakti does not use the word devotion. He uses the word devotional service. Because bhakti can never be passive. It cannot be just passive. We can say that I am a devotee and it's like be a passive way. Bhakti actually means that how actively we are trying to please the object of our love. That actually is bhakti. So we see that everywhere, like in Vrindavan when we see, so we do not see in Vrindavan anyone is idly sitting under a tree and doing meditation. No one, we do not read in any pastime. When Gop Kumar, he goes to Golok Vrindavan in Brihad Bhagvat Amrita, we see that all the gopis, they were like very much busy. Like Mother Yashoda is busy, all the gopis are busy, because Krishna has left for the pastime. He has gone with his cowherd boyfriends to the forest to taken the cause there. And then in the evening, Krishna is going to return back, and then all are busy in preparing that wonderful food items and all, which they are going to offer to Krishna. So everyone is engaged, everyone is positively engaged in serving Krishna, serving the Supreme Lord. And that is why, since they are positively engaged, so that is why they are experiencing great happiness in this, in their life. Because unless, if we really want satisfaction in our life, if we really want happiness in our life, then the only way is to attain is that by serving Krishna. And all these mellows, when we are like discussing this pastime of Lord Balram, pastime of Lord Krishna, so all the devotees are experiencing, like before also when we read this, like when Balramji visits, then Mother Yashoda, Anand Maharaj, they become so much pleased, and they are hearing from Lord Balram about the pastime of Krishna. They are asking about Krishna. Then when Lord Balram is also speaking about Krishna to the gopis, then gopis are also so much absorbed in Krishna. And because gopis or Mother Yashoda, Nand Baba, so they are never like separated from Krishna. So it is said that when Krishna is there with the gopis, so that is one pastime. But when Krishna is not with the gopis or not in Vrindavan, means in a manifested form, then it is more pleasing. That Vipralamba Bhav, that is love in separation, is more pleasing. The reason being that when Krishna is there with them, then thus Krishna is just in front of them. But when Krishna is not there with them, then actually Krishna is, they are always surrounded with Krishna. Because everywhere what happens, they are able to see Krishna. Wherever they see, they are always seeing Krishna. So they are always chanting, they are always glorifying, they are always talking about Krishna, singing about Krishna. Even the birds, the animals, everyone, even the land of Vrindavan, even the Yamuna river, everyone. So everything is always again and again singing the glories of Krishna. So these pastimes are there in Srimad Bhagvatam, so that people like us can understand that there is a wonderful spiritual world which is awaiting for us, and we should not waste our life in this material world. And the way we are suffering right now, so all our suffering will get mitigated once we perfect our life, once we purify our life, and then we will get an opportunity to return back to the spiritual world. And when we return to the spiritual world, so our motive, our purpose is that we should always be in a mood of serving Krishna, serving the pure devotees. Because if we are in that mood, then we will always be happy, we will always be satisfied, and we will always be blissful in our life. So this is what I wanted to share. This is some of my understanding. If I committed any mistake, then I seek your forgiveness. So we can conclude now. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्णा. थैंक यू वेरी मच.